Mario and RPGs go hand in hand. From Super Mario RPG for the SNES, to Mario and Luigi Dream Team and Paper Mario Sticker Star for the 3DS, Mario and his friends have a history of great RPGs. The one that I enjoyed the most though was Super Paper Mario. Super Paper Mario is different than other games from the series, the biggest reason being that there were little to no turn-based battles. In fact, the game was really more of a platformer than an RPG, which is probably why I enjoy it so much. So on this episode of Beta64, I'm going to talk about the beta of Super Paper Mario. Super Paper Mario was first shown at E3 2006 as an upcoming game for the GameCube. The E3 trailer shows various beta elements removed from the final game, the first being Megastar Mario. The color palette of Mario is very different than the original 8-bit color palette used in the final game. Interestingly, the final palette is shown in the E3 trailer, even though both the trailer and the screenshots were released at the same time. This could mean that the screenshots were taken earlier than the trailer and were held until the E3 reveal. The wedding scene in the beta is also different than the final game. In the beta, the wedding appears to have taken place in a room rather than an open area, and the columns are not decorated as they are in the final version. The scene in this screenshot takes place when the Chaos Heart rises, but in the final game, Peach is knocked over, Bowser has a shocked expression on his face, Count Bleck has his cloak down, the Chaos Heart is dark instead of bright, and Nastasia is beside the Count. This next screenshot is very interesting. It shows Princess Peach battling the big blooper with... Wait, is that a beta pixel I see? Why, yes it is. But we'll get to more of that later. After E3 2006, people were confused on what system Super Paper Mario would be for, as it appeared on Nintendo of Japan's upcoming Wii games list, but on Nintendo of America's upcoming GameCube game list. But Nintendo cleared up the confusion by stating that Super Paper Mario was indeed coming out for the GameCube at the end of 2006. In early 2007, the game was still not released, and Nintendo Power wrote that Super Paper Mario would launch for the Wii. This brought up rumors that the game was going to be released on both the GameCube and the Wii, much like The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was going to. Less than a month later, Nintendo officially confirmed that Super Paper Mario would release for the Wii on April 9th, and the GameCube version was never heard from again. Inside Super Paper Mario's files are various leftovers from its GameCube development, such as these GameCube buttons. Some of the GameCube models are also still viewable, all of which are about half the resolution of the Wii counterpart. The first model is of Mario. The second is of Peach's parasol. The handle on the GameCube model is not transparent like the Wii version. The last GameCube model is of Peach, which was obviously a temporary one, as most of the hair is colored over, and Peach is missing the ponytail from the Wii model. Another unused GameCube element is an early title screen. The copyright date says 2006 instead of 2007, which is when Super Paper Mario was supposed to be released for the GameCube. Now, as I promised, it's time to talk about this beta pixel. The pixel looks like a ladder and is rumored to have controlled Mario's 2D to 3D flipping ability. If the rumor is true, the pixel was most likely scrapped because players can only equip one pixel at a time. And since dimension flipping is used so often in the game, it would have been a pain to keep changing pixels in order to flip. There are also some unused enemies still hidden in Super Paper Mario, 4 of which are Shy Guys. The first is of a normal Shy Guy, the second is a Fly Guy, the third is a Stilt Guy, and the fourth is of a Spear Guy. Monty Mole is also an unused enemy. The moles would pop out of walls and throw rocks at the players, much like other Mario games. There are also some unused enemies who would have made their first appearance in the Paper Mario series, one being a Wiggler. This enemy would later appear in Super Mario Sticker Star for the 3DS. Another enemy is a black Goomba with the file name eKami-Kuribo. As we learned from my earlier videos, Kuribo means Goomba in Japanese. The E most likely stands for enemy, and Kami is thought to be a shortened version of Kamikaze. If this is true, then the Goomba most likely walked up to the player and exploded on contact. Some of the unused enemies are just different color schemes of in-game enemies. These enemies include an early pink and purple Squiglet, a purple Muth, a green Boomboxer, and a monochrome version of the Underchomp boss. A few interesting unused images are in Super Paper Mario's files, one of which is a colorless Koopa Shell. The shell could have been used as a reference, or perhaps there was going to be a new Koopa enemy, but no one is absolutely sure. These last unused graphics are coupled with the model of Fractale, the robotic flying dragon. These images are of a tree trunk, leaves, and a coconut. They were meant to be formed into a palm tree where Fractale's antenna is located. The palm tree was most likely used in an early version of the boss's introduction, where instead of him being flipped in, he would pop out of the ground with his antenna hidden by the unused tree. Images of the partners from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door appear as catch cards in Super Paper Mario with these file names. Flurry, Goombella, Koops, Kid Yoshi, Miss Mouse, and Admiral Bobbery's leftover models from Thousand Year Door can actually be found with these file names. Some say that the rest of the partners also have leftover models, but I couldn't seem to find them. There are 6 unused audio tracks in Super Paper Mario. Take a listen. That first track was the theme from Super Mario Bros. 3. Because the file name is Dummy32K, it was most likely going to be used for testing audio. That track was going to play when the player collects the Happy Flower. In the final game though, there's no change in music. That unused track was most likely going to be used for a cutscene. The next track is a remix of the Super Mario Bros. Theme for the opening scene of the Bitlands, though the final game uses the standard tracks for the opening of the stage. These next 2 unused tracks were jingles for whether you answered a puzzle correctly or not. Interestingly, the Puzzle Solve jingle was actually used in the E3 2006 demo. So that's the beta of Super Paper Mario. I'm glad Nintendo decided to release this game for the Wii. The use of the Wii pointer to investigate objects was a nice touch that wouldn't have been possible to replicate the same way on the GameCube. So if you want to learn more about Super Paper Mario, such as the game's 16 unused capture cards, click the link in the description. So this has been Beta64 with the Super Paper Mario beta. Thanks for watching.